If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Now go download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And now back to Girl Down Podcast with me, Aeon. You're listening to a new episode of Girl Down Podcast with your host, me, Aeon. So sit back, relax, and listen as I unpack the uncertainty of my 30s, one episode at a time. Hey, welcome to another episode of Girl Down Podcast. This is me, Aeon. And today I want to talk about how I deal with trans rejection now. So I know this episode is coming out. We just passed Thanksgiving and Christmas is coming up. And I just want to say that I'm just so blessed to get to this point in my transition where when I started out at 19, I didn't think I would ever get to this point where I don't feel like I owe cis folks passability, femininity, my womanhood. I'm just so there that like I'm so set in my transness and how I define womanhood for me and how I show up that those things really don't bother me and they don't affect me anymore. How they did when I was young, when I was first hitting my stride in my transition, when I first came out to the world and showing Brianna to the world, when I was still one of the new girls on the scene in Baltimore, and I desperately needed people to see who I was, to validate me, to validate my womanhood, and to use the right name and to use the right pronouns. And I was so hungry for love and so hungry for acceptance. So to just be on the other side of this where I'm just nonchalant, but like, let's be honest, what plays a part in my nonchalantness about it is because I have been able to overcome so much. I've been able to accomplish so much, and I'm in I'm in my career now that is able to generate an income where I'm able to kind of create stability for myself and really insulate myself from a lot of the transphobia and things of that nature. So I do say this with the mindfulness that I am in a privileged position where I'm able to create some insulation. But even with that insulation, even with the access that I do have, I have had to circle back to some relationships that were toxic and really assess whether the people, like certain families, certain friends, whether the investment was worth enough for me to go back and to repair those relationships with family, especially those who really either didn't see it for my transition or kind of distanced themselves from me intentionally and kind of left me to my own devices. But I say all of that to say this. This is just my mindset. How I deal with the rejection now is like at the end of the day, nobody else is doing nothing for Brianna, the adult, right? At the end of the day, I could go out, you could clock me, you could misgender me, you could dad name me, which you shouldn't be doing. But I've gotten to the reality that as long as people feel like they can take a dig at you or people feel like they can overpower you or shade you, they're going to go for the bait and they're going to do it. And in that moment where my instinct reaction, my Banji cunt South Baltimore girl reaction is to slap a bitch in the face, pull out a can of mace, and just spray till there's nothing in the can. Read and cuss a bitch out and cause a scene like I used to do back when I was a young girl, desperate for that validation. I think when I come back to my apartment that I pay for, nobody's helping me pay for that motherfucker. When I pay all my bills at the end of the month, nobody's doing it for me. Nobody lives in my apartment for me. I'm not living with nobody. I'm not shaking my purse for anybody. Nobody is doing it for me. When I get up and go to work every day and I interact with my coworkers, all of that other shit that people are saying, it doesn't matter. Because no matter what you try to say, the reality is I'm still going to move through this world as a woman. I'm still going to be treated like a woman, the good and the bad. And nothing you say is going to shake or change the experience that I'm going to have as a black trans woman moving through this universe. No matter how much you might hate, no matter how much you don't see it, nothing is going to change that. And at the end of the day, I have set my life up in a way that nobody can take this away from me. Nobody can take, and to me, as approaching 33, those are the things that matter to me in my transition, because a lot of these people, they don't have a pot to piss in, a window to throw out, or even if they do, they don't really have the type of power to really alter how you're going to move through the world and how you're going to be perceived in the world. And that's why they're so mad. When I think about all of the men in the closet that or not even the men in the closet, when I think about all of the men who I come across on these dating apps, and they're either outwardly transphobic, saying, why are you on this app, trying to get me reported, trying to get me blocked, or the people that are willing to mess with you but are still engaging in transphobia by trying to make you a secret or just trying to put their shame on you. The fact doesn't change that you are still attracted to me as a woman, as a trans, whatever, however you see it. You're, and if you're attracted to me now, you're going to be attracted to me again. I'm still going to be on your mind. And again, to me, it's not so much of validation of getting people to see you or getting people to, because the reality is some people are just not ever going to see it. And the crazy thing is people that do see it, but they're purposely going to go out of their way not to see it to make you feel bad about yourself. But as long as you're able to take care of yourself, support yourself, cultivate relationships with your chosen family and blood family members that are willing to be in a respectful and loving relationship for you, then that's all that should matter, because that's all that matters to me. I know whose I am. I know whose I belong to. So there's no reason for me to go off or have this overreaction when a bitch who can't take is being fierce to me. And it's a place for trans rejection, and it's a place where I put those feelings and I move on, because at the end of the day, it's not important. I have a home to come back to. I have family that depends on me. I have friends that depend on me. So you misgendering me, or you trying to get a reaction or response out of me, when I zoom out and look at the big picture of my life and look about how far I have come, how far I still have to go, a lot of that shit is insignificant to me, because I was a woman then when you were trying it, and I'm still a woman now, and I'm still here, and I'm still pushing past the adversity, and that's what I'm going to do. So whether you see me as a man or see me as a woman, that's really inconsequential to me. So I just wanted to put that into the universe. I don't know who listens to my show, but if I have younger listeners or even people in my age groups or older that are still trying to figure out a way how to set boundaries with family and trying to navigate spaces with family, I would say still demand your respect. Demand your respect. But know that whether your family chooses to see it or not, that's going to impact you because that's your family, that's your love, you love them, you have ties to them. But in the grand scheme of things, that's not going to impact how you move through the world and the experiences that you know you're going to have because you're a woman. And the best thing that you can do is build your own fortress of safety and solitude. Because at the end of the day, when I sit back and look at my life, and I'm not saying my life is the best and I had everything. No, it's still stuff that I'm working for. But it feels really good to know how far I have come and that I have something to call mine where I can be whatever I want to be. And I don't have to hear all of that transphobic, anti whatever noise. And I can just come home and be myself. And to me, that's all that matters. So that's all I got to say on this topic. I will see you all next time. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of Girl Down Podcast with me, Aeon. If you like the show, please be sure to go on over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review this podcast. Also, make sure that you're engaging with me on social media. Also, if you have any inquiries or you want to send me any questions, be sure to email me at girldownpodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, bye y'all.